Hello and welcome. My name is Jason Hoeksema. I'm a professor of biology at the University of Mississippi and also the president of Delta Windbirds, a small nonprofit bird conservation organization based in Mississippi. Today, I'm going to give you a short introduction to the birds that we are trying to help with our conservation work. They're sometimes known as shorebirds, but we also call them windbirds. So let me first explain where that name comes from. So windbird is a poetic synonym for shorebird, and it comes from a book by Peter Matheson in which he said, "The restlessness of shorebirds, their kinship with the distance and swift seasons, the wistful signal of their voices down the long coastlines of the world, make them, for me, the most affecting of wild creatures. I think of them as birds of the wind, as windbirds." These birds are diverse. There are several that you might recognize. The one in the middle is sometimes called kildee. The technical name for it is a killdeer. They nest in parking lots and sometimes on baseball diamonds and softball diamonds. You might have also heard of snipe, which is a real bird that is sometimes hunted. American woodcock on the bottom left there is also a real bird. It's in this group, but some of them actually do live on the shore, like the black-necked stilt, the least sandpiper, and the spotted sandpiper. Although I should say, these birds don't all live on the shore of the ocean. Sometimes they live in other habitats as well, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. To give you some context, how big are these birds? Well, the smallest shorebird in the world is the least sandpiper, and it weighs 20 grams and is about 6 inches long. 20 grams is about 1.5 tablespoons of butter. See those little slices of butter there? Those are each a tablespoon, so 1.5 of those. So this is a tiny, tiny bird. The biggest shorebird in North America is the long-billed curlew, which weighs more like 600 grams, which is about 5 sticks of butter. So that's the range we're talking about here, tiny to kind of medium-sized birds. Now back to this question of where are they found. Shorebirds are indeed found on the shore a lot of times, but not always the shore of the ocean. They do occur on beaches on the ocean shore, but they're also sometimes found in other habitats. A lot of them nest in tundra habitat at the far north end of the world. A lot of them occur in dry prairie habitats, as shown in the top right there. Many shorebirds rely extensively on wetlands, as shown in the bottom left, including the snipe, which is shown there. But lots and lots of shorebirds use wetlands either to nest in or as stopover places during their migration, or they might spend the winter there. Some shorebirds use young forest areas where there are open areas and trails and grassy areas kind of mixed in with the forest, like this American woodcock shown on the bottom right. One of the really interesting things, though, about shorebirds is that they undergo epic migrations. This is what is the most impressive to me about these birds. The ones who nest in the far north, they migrate so that they can spend the winter somewhere else, often much, much further south from where they bred. For example, a lot of them spend the winter on the Gulf Coast of the United States and Mexico, but a whole bunch of them actually spend the winter in South America. And to get there, they have to fly a long ways. Some of them make little hops of just a few hundred miles at a time. And then when they stop, they feed for a week or 10 days or so until they build up their strength and their energy reserves, and then they make another hop. Some of these birds, though, make big jumps where they might fly from the north side of Canada all the way to Mississippi, where they rest and spend some time building up fat, and then they might jump from Mississippi all the way down to South America. This biology of their migration requires that they have special physiology where they can handle nonstop flight for hundreds or thousands of miles. This sometimes takes them multiple days where they're doing nothing but flying. They don't stop to rest, they don't stop to eat or drink water or to sleep or anything. I want to show you one cool example. This is the white-rumped sandpiper, which comes through Mississippi, where I live, in big numbers, especially in the spring. And here's a really nice video from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. I'm going to play it for you, showing their migratory path. Look at the color in South America here. That's in the winter. Now watch, in the summer, the color is showing up in the far north. And then watch in the fall, boom, they're back in South America. Okay, so watch it one more time. Watch the color change. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, they're up here, September, October, and now boom, they're back in South America again. All right, one more time, just watch the pattern. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So how do they do that? These birds are amazing flyers, and they have incredible physiology that allows them to make these nonstop flights of hundreds or thousands of miles at a time. This is a flock of white-rumped sandpipers migrating through Mississippi in the spring a couple of years ago. So where do you go to see these birds in our area? Well, you can look in flooded agricultural fields, recently drained catfish ponds, oxbow lakes and reservoirs. When the reservoirs are low, you can look along the edges. Wastewater treatment facilities have shorebirds at times. There's one in Memphis that we call the Pits, and it has a lot of shorebirds at certain times of the year. Sod farms especially attract certain kinds of shorebirds. Natural freshwater wetlands, such as those found at St. Catherine Creek National Wildlife Refuge. Another place similar called Sky Lake out in the middle of the Mississippi Delta. And then you can find shorebirds also along the Gulf beaches and on barrier islands, like a place called Jones Park in Gulfport, Mississippi. You can go out to Ship Island, which is part of a national park. And here is a picture of my friend Hal taking video of shorebirds out on a barrier island off the coast of Mississippi. It's a really beautiful place. And I'm going to leave you with a video that Hal took of a shorebird. This is a semi-palmated sandpiper resting on a barrier island in Mississippi and feeding. And then we're going to see here in a second another one of these birds taking a bath. And when these birds are here in Mississippi, we really need to provide them good habitat. So that is part of what nonprofits like Delta Windbirds are trying to do, is to make sure these birds have good habitat to stop, rest, feed, and bathe during their epic migrations. And then two images I want to leave you with. A marbled godwit is one of the cool shorebirds you can see on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi in the winter near Gulfport in Jones Park. And then while you're there, watch for willet as well, which is a gray shorebird that's pretty big. When it flies, you can see their black and white wing patterns. So go forth and see if you can see some shorebirds in your local area, and then contact Delta Windbirds and let us know what you're seeing, and maybe you can join us for a field trip coming up pretty soon. Thank you.